everybody. I want to spend just a couple minutes talking about our persuasive essay, which is that big paper that we've been working towards throughout the entire term. You guys believe it's already here. It's been an amazing term and you guys have been doing great work, and I'm so glad that you all stuck with it to get to this point. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about is our Assignment 2 preparation checklist. Now, this is ungraded, but it is invaluable to your success in this course. So I strongly encourage you at least review it, if not wholly complete it. Before we submit this persuasive essay, remember it is due Sunday at 11:59, and all of the coursework, including that reflection piece that's next, is going to be due at the end of week 8 at 11:59 p.m. But week 8 does end on Tuesday as opposed to Sunday, so we do want to make sure that we have all of our work done by Tuesday of week 8 at 11:59. But again, our persuasive essay is due this Sunday at 11:59. If you have any questions at all during the process, you can just connect with me. I'll be happy to clarify. So let's take a look at that preparation checklist. What this checklist does is it helps us take a look at all those revisions and everything that we've been working on to this point, making sure that it is translated nicely into that persuasive essay that we've been working on. So we're going to kind of look at the introduction, the body, and the conclusion, and some small scale stuff as well. When you're looking at your introduction, you want to make sure that you have included a clear overview about the issue that you are writing about, given a nice attention getter and a little bit of an overview of the topic. You also want to make sure that you do introduce the main points of your issue. You want to make sure that you have an identifiable thesis. You guys have all got great thesis going on. And you want to make sure that you're very clear in the direction that you're taking your essay. All right, and that's what makes a good, solid introduction for our persuasive paper. Now for your body, and this one's important, you need to have more than one body paragraph. And remember that our prompts and our mind edge activities were just that. They were just prompts to help us build solid paragraphs. So let's make sure that we are writing solid 5 to 8 sentence paragraphs for each of our body components. Actually, you want to make sure you have a solid 5 sentences for all of your paragraphs, but this was a common concern with a lot of our rough drafts, our first drafts that we submitted last week. You need to be sure that you are downloading your papers and opening them up in Microsoft Word, and that you're actually formatting a clear, proper essay. I cannot reiterate this enough. You cannot just submit essentially a notes page with single sentence responses to the paragraph prompts in our mind edge activities. You need to make sure that you are composing and formatting a clear, traditionally formatted essay. Make sure you've got those paragraphs indented, make sure you have double spaces, and make sure that your paragraphs are a minimum of 5 sentences. This is a critical element in this class. It's one of the goals that we want you to succeed with, is creating proper, fully functioning paragraphs, and we need to be sure that they're a minimum of 5 sentences to do so. You want to have that topic sentence, a concluding or transition sentence, and at least 3 sentences in there supporting your ideas. Remember that pie example that we used, the pie method, where you have your points, your information, and your explanation or evidence. And if you ever have any questions at all in paragraph development, check out the supplemental material that we have, but also always feel free to connect with me in email or text, or even in the general discussions forum. So first and foremost, make sure we have more than one body paragraph. Make sure that each paragraph has a clear intent to it, those topic sentences that we were talking about. Do the paragraphs transition logically from one sentence to the next, or from one paragraph to the next? What this is asking is, do you have a logical flow with that paragraph development that you have? Do you clearly connect each of your paragraphs back to your thesis? Do you provide supportive evidence to support your claim? This is where we got those quotes and that paraphrase content from our articles. Are you using them effectively in your paragraphs? Do the sources have proper in-text citation? Make sure that you are including in-text citations, especially with MLA. If you introduce the author and the title, you still need to have an in-text citation that has the paragraph or page number as well. So make sure you have your in-text citations also. Do you include the opposing viewpoints to your argument? Remember, a key to successful persuasion is acknowledging that there's another side. Do you clearly do this in your paper? And do you refute it as well? You say, yeah, that's the opposing side, and tie it back in and say, that's why you should be listening to my side. We want to make sure that you have a conclusion. Do you do a clear review of your argument? We don't just want to reiterate our introduction here, but do we kind of touch back on all of those key points that we've made throughout our paper? And do you also discuss a new insight about your claims? Our persuasive paper has taken us through a long process of learning about this topic. So have you gathered any new insights at all about your topic, and make sure you include that in your conclusion. For APA, all of my APAers out there, do you have a cover page? It is required for APA to have a cover page. And do you have a citation page? For APA, this is going to be called reference. For our MLAers, it's going to be called a works cited page. So do you include that as well? Remember, it goes beyond just typing out that awesome paper that we have. We need to make sure that we are formatting properly in our chosen writing style, be it APA or MLA. Remember, with APA you need to have a cover page, and with MLA you need to have a works cited page. All right. And finally, we want to make sure that we have a clear articulation going on. This is those small scale revisions that we've talked about throughout the term. Is your grammar correct? Do you have those in-text citations? Is there a logical flow throughout your paper? Are you speaking, so to speak, clearly through your paper? Okay, and this is just kind of a quick double checklist to make sure that we are hitting all of those points on our persuasive essay. Now, actually submitting our persuasive essay, you want to make sure that you've gone through the revision process fully, and you've taken my feedback into consideration, as well as your peer review when we did that workshop, that you've taken that into consideration also, and the reverse outline that we've done. Make sure that you're connecting all of those and you're revising your paper to reflect those suggestions, to make sure that your paper is as solid and amazing as it can be. And now to get to the specifics of what we're looking for with our rubric. Remember that we have our critical elements listed right here. We also have what it takes to get that exemplary or that proficient, or if we need to have some improvement. Because we're all writing awesome papers, that's what I'm going to go over, is how do we get those exemplary marks on this paper. Remember that we do need to have a clear introduction. In that introduction we need to have an overview, and where you present a clear overview of the issues that you're going to be analyzing. And this is just where you introduce your topic, and most of you guys are doing amazing with that. We want to make sure that we compose a thesis that states the argument that will be supported and proven throughout the essay, and that you are exceptionally clear and concise with this. If you're not sure if your thesis is strong enough, connect with me, text, email, and that general discussion forum, or we can also take a look back at that thesis suggestion from a few weeks ago that's still in our module announcements as well. For our body, we want to make sure that we write multiple paragraphs, and remember, a paragraph is a minimum of 5 sentences, okay? Make sure that we're writing multiple paragraphs that clearly state their intent and build their thesis argument. So we want to have properly formatted paragraphs. Make sure we've got that topic sentence and a transition or concluding sentence, and use as evidence to support our thesis. In regards to our body paragraphs, we want to make sure that our paragraphs communicate the argument by combining our thoughts with the evidence that we're using. And this goes beyond just dropping that quote in there. We want to make sure that they are fully integrated by having lead-in phrases and signaling our anchor phrases to make sure that it's blending our words with the evidence that we're using to support that. We also want to make sure that we do address and refute the opposing viewpoint to our persuasive paper in a way that strengthens our arguments. And you guys are doing awesome with this. We want to make sure that you are acknowledging both sides of the argument in order to fully strengthen and support your side of the argument. And we have our conclusion. Part of our conclusion is a review, of course. We want to make sure that you review the claims and summarize the key points that you've made. And we want to use clear contextualized language to do so. Be straightforward, and you don't really want to say, look, this is what I just talked about, but you want to make it clear that you are summarizing in your conclusion part of your paper. We also want to integrate some new insights that we may have had throughout this process about our topic. What have we learned? How has what we learned further support our argument and make it that much stronger? And again, we want to be aware of the articulation of our response. And part of this articulation is making sure that our paragraphs are a clear 5 sentences supporting our thesis. Beyond paragraphs, we want to make sure that our citations are correct. Remember that we do need to have in-text citations to support our evidence. We can't just have a works cited or reference page. We need to have parenthetical citations in our paragraphs whenever we use any content, be it direct quote or paraphrase content that is not our own. We want to make sure our grammar and our spelling is correct and that our organization is professional and presented in a logical way. And that's how you get an exemplary paper. You guys have this. It's awesome. You've worked so hard towards this point in the term. So let's make sure that we're revising our papers with these goals in mind. And if you have any questions at all, you know where to connect with me on the General Questions Discussion Forum, via Skype, even if that helps you. Text. You can email me, if I could speak, email me any questions that you might have. And I want to remind you guys one more time that you can submit your paper to me through email early, and I'll just take a quick review of it, ungraded of course, to make sure that we are all hitting these points before you actually submit it. And remember that you do need to submit this assignment in Blackboard as a properly formatted essay. If you have any questions at all, let me know.